just wanted to surface, and I know that this may have come up from a guest speaker at the Greater Tulsa Area African American Affairs Commission, and I know that just to say this is on the agenda for the Greater Tulsa Area Indian Affairs Commission for tomorrow, and I just wanted to surface that. So a community member had reached out about a monument that they were concerned about that's in Owen Park, that is a monument for the Pioneers Association of Tulsa. It's a pretty interesting monument. It's in the corner of the park, next to another one that is for, that's kind of a marker where Cherokee, Osage, and I think Creek Nation converge. What's interesting is both monuments were built in 1935, but this monument that's for the Pioneers Association commemorates, it's for a barbecue that was held in September 1921, commemorating pioneers who've been on that land for, in the area for 30 years, and has a very long list of family names, lots of ones you all would recognize from across our city, as well as Tate Brady's name. It's a very interesting and complex and concerning monument that this person surfaced. I forwarded an email to you of all these articles of different pieces of history regarding it. It's, again, a fascinating, and in some ways, especially when you consider the time period in which it was erected, what it is being a monument for, and even its inscription, which reads that, let's see, I'll just read it real quick for you. It says, "This stone marks the ground where old-timers who had lived in Tulsa and vicinity over 30 years met on September 21st, 1921, at a barbecue given by Dr. Sam G. Kennedy and Dr. Jim Kennedy. They all visited with old friends, reminisced, and organized the Tulsa Association of Pioneers to commemorate and perpetuate the memory of those sturdy pioneers who, by their sacrifice and effort, helped to build a great empire." Since I knew that the Greater Tulsa Area Indian Affairs Commission has it on their agenda tomorrow, my thought was that we may want to pause ourselves in getting into further discussion about it until we can get some cues from them and see what percolates.
We didn't know a lot about that monument, so I have reached out to a few people, and there's been some discussion ongoing about how inappropriate that monument may be. I've read some newspaper articles that were published around that time through the Tulsa Daily World at the time, and it is really unclear why that monument was erected or why it was placed in Owen Park.
It didn't used to be in such close proximity. They were erected around the same time, but it wasn't until 1950 when this Pioneers monument was moved in very close proximity to the one that is acknowledging where the sovereign nation, where that meeting point is.
I'm with the Tulsa chapter of the National Daughters of the American Revolution, and we dedicated this monument back in 1935. And I don't think we've ever had a rededication. And as a historic preservation chair, I was hoping to get some recognition to the monument.
It's just a monument that is little known, and it'd be nice to give it a little bit of publicity and press, that marks the location in North Tulsa where all three tribal lands intersect. So it's and I would love to see it on its own and celebrated, or without having the Tulsa Pioneers Monument nearby. But that's just a personal opinion.
This is Pat Powell. I had spoke with our cultural department. We don't have a historian with the tribe at this time. Anyway, we don't now. So I talked to her, and she wasn't aware of it. And Roman and I, my husband, just went out there and looked at it in person and took pictures of it, and we sent a copy of it to the cultural department at Muskogee Creek Nation. And I also spoke to the chief secretary, and no one was even aware of that monument there or anything. So
Tulsa Pioneers organization is still an active organization in Tulsa, and I don't believe anybody has reached out to them. And I think that we probably should at least kind of try to reach out to a connection through there and find out what their expectations are and what they're thinking about this particular monument. and I don't know.
I just wrote a note in the chat that I can reach out to the Pioneers Association.
My friend, my late great friend Leroy Chapman, talked about that monument before and has done a lot of research about it. And unfortunately, throughout Tulsa, there are tons of Klan trophies, as we call them, throughout this city, which is why it really bothered me that there's such an issue with having Black Lives Matter on the street within Greenwood, but yet there are so many Klan trophies through this city that no one even raises a question or hair about.
I think it's just going to be a springboard for additional stuff. As you and I know, that there's various, the community is really unknown to that fact that there is a monument out there that dedicates the intersection of those three tribal boundaries. And so it's been there for years. It's just kind of unknown. And so I think that we need to, in addition to, like Vicki was saying, that we need to bring the attention to that fact and its uniqueness for the city and for this state, for the country. So, good job.
These monuments converge so much of what's challenging and complex within Tulsa's history that we're reckoning with and surfacing. And so I think it's the timing and opportunity to really dig in. It feels like a good chance to be reflective about what we have monuments for.
There's some questions about the monument at Owen Park. There are a couple people that asked about that. Then I have another question.
I will, and I think we can follow up later with the counselor on this. Will be one of those kind of Elmo. It's later this week. She and I are meeting to talk a little bit more, and we've gotten some information about from the historical. I think it's from the Historical Society. I can't remember if it was them or from the architects group. I forget who, counselor. But anyway, the counselor, we've gotten a lot of questions on the origins of a monument there, and if we need to be concerned about. I don't know what the right terminology we use is, but if there are, frankly, if there are racist elements when that monument was installed. So we've been researching. There's nothing inherently, when you see it, that's that, but if there are people who are involved in it that the city might decide are not people that we want to honor in the way that it's being honored. So that's something we're in the process of researching right now, and we're working with Councilor McKee on that. And, I mean, I think, it's something in the next couple of weeks or so, we may, have some response on that. Would you say that's fair, Counselor? Unmute yourself.
I've got too many mice, too many mouses over here. Yes, that is absolutely correct. We're looking into that. I'm glad to hear that you've got some more information on it, and I'm looking forward to meeting you there and talking about it some more this week.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll be looping back around with Owen Park and with everyone who's contacted us about that as well.
Okay.